Welcome to another video, guys. Today I'm actually gonna do something a little bit different and give you a detailed guide about one of the most amazing epic champions in the game, Uugo. Uugo is an absolute beast in raid, and she is so versatile and helpful. She literally is a legendary in disguise. So in this video I'm gonna tell you how I have her built, what you should be looking for in terms of stats, what masteries you should get, relics, blessings, and everything in between, so you know how to get the most out of your amazing epic champion. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you feel like I've earned your subscription, a like and subscribe would really be appreciated. And don't forget you can check me out live on stream each Tuesday and Thursday, where I do my best to give you free account takeovers so you can enjoy raid even more. If you still haven't downloaded raid, what are you waiting for? Use my download link and get yourself 4 amazing champions including Uugo in your first few days, and you're also gonna have 24 hours to use the promo code section for a 5th amazing free champion. Now let's get into it. Okay, so yeah, Uugo is really one of the best epic champions in raid for quite a while now, because she is so freaking versatile, guys. Like, this is literally 2 champions in the slot of 1, because she's an amazing support as well as an amazing debuffer, like really amazing top tier quality stuff here. On the A1 we actually have Leech debuff here, which is super strong, and it could be amazing on places like even Chimera, where Leech really shines, but also any single target boss would be amazing for you, because getting yourself extra healing out of nowhere really does help. The A2 is really where the money's at though, because this is the main reason why we really want to be using Uugo. And what she does here is she's basically like a mini Lydia, guys. She does 2 amazing debuffs at the price of 1 skill, and it only has 3 turns cooldown and 100% when booked out, depending on the place you're using her. She attacks all enemies, and she has booked out to 100 chance of placing 60% big decreased defense for 2 turns, and this is no secret, guys. Decreased defense is the best way you could be increasing your damage on your team by a lot, like a lot. Also, she has a 50% chance of placing a block buffs, which books out to 75% to place block buffs again for 2 turns. And this against Hydra basically books out to 95%, and with the masteries it books out to 100%, which is actually amazing. Being able to cycle through this skill over and over again and keep the opponents with block debuffs as well as decreased defense is super important, and Uugo is gonna be amazing in that. And last but not least, we also have her third skill, which is Uugo's Brew. Remove all heal reduction debuffs from all allies, then remove 1 random debuff from all allies, and then heal all allies by 20% chance of this champion's max HP. Also, if all allies are dead, revive them with 50% HP, then fill their turn meter by 50% instead, which is honestly absolutely broken. It's not gonna be easy for Uugo to be the last champion alive, but in this video I'll show you what you could be doing in order for her to actually really shine even as a reviver. So yeah, she basically has a mini cleanse, and she also always removes heal reduction, so that is pretty powerful again, and you could be really having a lot of good time with her and Hydra, because the cleanse really does help. And the 20% healing from her max HP is also crucial, because this way you can just build her with tons of HP and heal your champions with 20k plus with the help of this skill. It is on 4 turn cooldown, but it's definitely worth the wait. She also has a passive, which is absolutely amazing, because if all of your other champions actually die, she receives 30% increased speed buff and a block damage buff on her if she is the last living ally. This comboed off with her A3 is really important, because basically she does get a turn where she's not receiving damage, and she also has a chance to revive everybody, but again, she needs to be the last living champion for either of those skills to work, so it is a little bit tricky. For the build, here's what I have her in. This is a pretty cool build for Hydra, which is the main place I use Uugo nowadays, and even to this day, after I have all of these amazing legendary champions and mythicals and everything, I still use Uugo to this day, guys. Like, look at how many champions I still have, and I'm still literally using Uugo in my hard Hydra team, which still ain't no joke. How do I have her built? We have her in a 4-piece hex set and a 5-piece perception, but if we gotta be completely honest, I didn't need to go 5 pieces for perception, only a couple would have been fine, just to get a little bit of extra speed, a little bit of extra accuracy, but honestly perception does make a lot of sense on Uugo, if you gotta be honest. Giving her that interception stack, not the worst thing in the world. In the end of the day, she is a healer and reviver and a debuffer, so having her not getting crowd controlled is not the worst idea in the world, but basically the hex set is what's important here. With the hex set and her A2, not only does she decrease defense and block buffs, but she also has a chance of dropping that hex on the champions, and it's basically a 50-50, and this is super strong in Hydra, because having the hex debuff increases your damage by a lot, and it's also important for one of those pesky heads you can't really target. Head of Mischief, was it? I don't know, I really need to learn those names. Either way, yeah, Uugo is not a very pretentious champion, so you could be building her in interesting sets like this without really caring, but if we gotta be completely honest, you could also just build her out in the Perception set, because this really does scream Uugo. What does Uugo need? She needs speed, she needs accuracy, and she needs HP. Those are the three main stats you really want on Uugo for her to really shine. Since she's a debuffer and a support champion, she needs to be one of the fastest, if not the fastest champion on your team. She needs to have enough accuracy for her to land her debuffs, and she needs to have enough HP so she can actually give good amounts of healing. So yeah, the perception set can be great, straight up speed set could be great. As you see, I do have her in curse, so that's also a pretty good valid option, and she does help me a lot in Hydra this way. If you're using her for wave-based content, technically the shield set can work, the bolster set can work. Relentless is also not a bad idea, getting extra turns on Uugo is not a bad idea at all. The stun set might make some sense for her if you want to be using her in wave-based content. Provoke set could also be not the worst idea in Hydra again. If you're not having a good provoke champion, you could just slap her in 4-piece provoke and try to be attacking the head that needs to get provoked as much as you can. With the AoE you could land it. The odds are not very high because she doesn't have a multi-hit on her A1 or anything like that, but still it is something to think about if you really are missing provoke there. The reflex set is also something a lot of people have been using her in, and this way you get to cycle her A3 a lot more and also make sure that your A2 never disappears. A couple of pieces of Immortal could be not the worst idea in the world, keeping her nice and healthy. And even Feral could be a good idea for her, but honestly I would not be wasting 9 pieces Feral on Uugo, even though God knows she does deserve it. But you will still be actually dealing up to 15% more damage thanks to her, because she does bring a grand total of 3 debuffs with the Leech, with the decreased defense, and the block buffs. Going through the stats you need to be looking for each piece. On the boots you obviously want to be having speed. Hopefully you can ascend it into the speed substat, or at least HP percent, that would be best. As for the chest, again you're looking for HP here in the percentages, and hopefully ascend it into more HP here, that would be best in that case, because defense is cool and all, but it's not gonna help you give more healing is what I'm trying to say, and you're still gonna get a good amount of defense percent from your other pieces anyway, because that's what you're gonna be looking for the substats here. For the gauntlets, you could be looking again for HP percent at best. Again, ascending it into HP percent would be great as well. And as for the substats on the top items, well, you're looking for speed, for HP percent, for defense percent, for accuracy, that kind of stuff. Technically speaking, you could even build Uugo with a lot of crit rate and crit damage. That is something the pros are doing in top Hydra teams, but if you're gonna be using a top Hydra team, you're probably not gonna be using Uugo anymore, even though she still is very worth it, guys. For the ring, you're gonna be looking for HP here, hopefully ascend it into HP, but you're obviously not gonna be wasting any dust rerolling here, and you're also gonna be looking for HP percent. In the substats, for the amulet, you are gonna want HP on the main stat, and hopefully some defense, some accuracy, some resistance would also be very lovely here. And on the banner, again, you could be looking for HP, you could be looking for accuracy if you're missing it, you definitely want to be looking for speed, and HP percent would also be great. Technically speaking, you could also build Uugo with a good amount of resist. As you see, mine actually does have a decent chunk of resist on her, and the reason behind that is she is, again, something like a cleanser. She will be helping you cleanse a thing or two, so having her resist a good crowd control would be very beneficial for you, so she can actually cleanse everybody who didn't resist it. So getting her into some substantial amounts of resistance would be pretty great, but it really comes down to the piece of content you're gonna be using her for. Here the Raid Stages tool really comes in handy. You can go to Hell Hades and use it from the Raid Shadow Legends tools, and here you get to pick the encounter you're trying to build your champion for, and in this case, like I said, I'm using her for Hydra, so let's go ahead and select that, and we're selecting the stage we're gonna be using her for, because if I'm gonna be using her on hard, I don't really need to be building her for nightmares, so yeah, let's look at hard. For hard, as you can see, we will need 200 accuracy to be landing our debuffs for the most part, 215 to be on the safe side, so everybody gets debuffed all the time, or at least 97% of the time if we gotta be completely accurate. And here, for how much resistance we need to build her in, we can see that the heads have between 220 and 310 accuracy, so this means we need to have up to 415 resistance if we really want to be resisting everything 97% of the time. As you saw, I did not build mine as resistant as possible, so she is gonna get some debuffs out ahead of Mischief, but everything else we should be resisting for the most part, which definitely is great. For a blessing, I definitely think we should be going for Cruelty. It's definitely worth having her like this. She is gonna bring you more damage this way, so that's pretty nice, and also Hell Hades agrees on this, so I guess we can't go wrong with Cruelty. And as for the Relic, I'd say Golden Elixir really speaks to Uugo, even though she doesn't get any amazing stats out of it. She does get attack, and actually she does scale off attack, so there's something. But we're not really building her for damage all that much. The main reason why the Golden Elixir is so great on her is because Wearer is instantly healed by 10% when their HP drops below 50%, and this way basically you kinda ensure that Uugo is not gonna be dying when everybody else is, so if your other allies are squishy, Uugo actually does have a chance of proccing her passive plus her mass revive, which could be pretty awesome. And if you level this thing up to level 9+, she is also gonna start getting accuracy, and on level 15 even HP, but let's face it, nobody's leveling Golden Elixir up to 15 for Uugo. As for the sockets, it would be best if you have have the circle speed socket here. I seem to have used all of mine, but yeah, here's the socket you really want to be giving her. On the other one, you could be placing something like this, but honestly, sockets are such a weird piece of content right now. Basically, just read what the sockets does and use the one that makes sense. We could be using this growing resolve. I don't know, like, there's so many things out there right now. I haven't even read all of them just yet, but basically just read what the sockets do and use the one that makes most sense. For the masteries, again, I grabbed these from Hell Hades. These are the PvE masteries, which is honestly where you mostly should be using Uugo anyway. And here we are grabbing accuracy. We are going with the more accuracy on the second row. Basically, you can just copy in, but yeah, it's pretty nice having Lore of Steel, even though right now the way I have her built, this does not give me all that much stats because I have 4 pieces Hex. It does still give a little bit of speed on the pinpoint and a little bit of accuracy, but yeah, it's still worth Lore of Steel. Like, what else do you want to really get here? I guess decreasing a cooldown is also not bad, but Lore of Steel 9 times out of 10 would be best. We can get the decreased turn meter here. We can also get increases the chance of placing debuffs from skills, and this will indeed increase the chance of you landing the block buffs, which is huge, making it up to 100 against Hydra. And we also have the chance to extend the debuffs, which can be pretty cool. As for damage, basically just grab the crit rate and hug the left side and all the way down to War Master, which would be best for her because she's not going to be dealing all that much damage herself, so ignoring defense obviously doesn't matter as much, but dealing damage based on the maximum HP of the opponent definitely would help. And basically let's just show a little bit of what Uugo does once you actually bring her to the table. Let's just remove a couple of these champions so we can actually see. And this is not really that much of a showcase of Uugo on these floors at least, but it's more of a showcase how important decreased defense is. Here we have Uugo herself, and let's see how the damage is gonna change. First we try with decreased defense and see how much damage 4 is gonna deal. Let me slow it down, and here we have it. 208 is the only one I saw. I guess in the edits you guys are gonna get to see how much damage it was. Okay, this is max HP base, so it's not really that big a deal how much damage it does. But yeah, we saw 208. I think that was the biggest damage, I'm not sure. Would have been nice if I actually built this as actual team, so I don't have to do this again, but here we go. And now we're gonna do the thing, except this time we're not gonna be placing the decreased defense. And here we have it, 136. I noticed. I'm very bad at seeing numbers quick, I guess. But yeah, definitely not a lot of damage without the decreased defense. So yeah, if you take anything away out of this video, which wasn't for Uugo, decreased defense is extremely important and it's probably the best damage debuff you could be having on your team, so you can deal tons of extra damage. And also combined with the Hex, that also does give a lot of extra damage. And let me just quickly show her in the Hydra so you can actually see how crucial she can be. Here we have it, Hard Hydra. Yeah, let's just slap this thing in and you basically get to see what Uugo really is here about. There we go, dropping defense, block buffs, slapped a single Hex here, so we did kind of low roll, but it is what it is. And yeah, this is the head where you want to be actually having Hex on, and we actually did land the Hex on her, because this head has a 75 chance of redirecting an enemy attack onto another random head. Will not occur if this head is under a Hex debuff. But not only that, the Hex debuff does bring a lot of extra damage for you, because champions under Hex debuffs take damage whenever their allies do. The damage from Hex debuffs ignores champions' defense, the original targets all take full damage. Champions under Hex debuff take 2% of AoE damage inflicted on their allies and 10% of single target damage inflicted on their allies. Champions under Hex debuffs only take extra damage from direct attacks on their attacks. Champions under Hex debuffs only take extra damage from direct attacks on their allies, not lasting effects like buffs or debuffs, like for example damage from poison HP burns, bombs, reflect damage, and so on. So yeah, Hex really important. But yeah, you basically get the gist of it. She is in here so she can be bringing a lot of extra support to the table. She brings a lot of utility, she brings a lot of help, she cleanses, she heals. So yeah, basically built her with a lot of HP, basically built her very quick and with enough accuracy, and heck, maybe even enough resistance if you have the stats for it. But resistance is a little bit of a wishful thinking kind of deal. You really don't need to have her in resistance to really get the most out of her. So if you don't have the stats for resistance, just skip on that, get everything else in order, and that should be fine. Hey, look at that, Uugo just killed that head. But yeah guys, all around Uugo really does shine a lot in Hydra, she shines a lot on any other piece of content, honestly. Like, she is rated at 4 stars right now, I think she used to be rated even higher before. And you can see she can be very decent on Demon Lord, absolutely amazing on Hydra, 5-star Hydra epic right there. Pretty good on Chimera with 4 stars, amazing against Spider, decent against Fire Knight, amazing against Dragon, Ice Golem, and all around decent everywhere else. For Arena, she's not really anything to write home about, but still you could technically use her to some extent in Arena if you really are desperate, but all she brings there is the debuff, decreased defense, and a little bit of a cleansing, but she really is not gonna get you anywhere out of silver or anything like that. Just one thing I forgot to mention, when you're building your Uugo, you want her roughly 1.5 times faster than your nukers, so she can actually ensure the decreased defense is always landed. What this means is, if your nukers are at 200 speed, you kinda want your Uugo to be around 300 speed, so she does take a turn and a half every time your nukers take a turn, and this way she will actually be able to land a debuff before your nukers get to hit again. So yeah guys, all around that's it for this guide. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, a like and subscribe would really be appreciated. Do let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and do let me know if you want another champion guide like this very soon. If you still haven't played Raid, or you're thinking about starting a new account, use my download link to get yourself started with some amazing champions as soon as your first day. Thanks for watching, I'm Chris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.